Hey traders, Jason here from Love Brothers. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the Aerospace group, which I consider to be either the market's best group or certainly within the top couple. That doesn't mean it has posted the biggest gain. It just means it's the combination of the most tradable and has offered the best opportunities. There are other groups that have probably done better. For example, aluminum has done phenomenally well, but there's only like one or two aluminum stocks that are worth trading. So even though the group has done well, there's not a lot of opportunity there. Aerospace, there's several dozen stocks and they're just doing great and there's a lot of opportunity. And from a trading standpoint, you only need like one or two or three like good trades at a time. Not that you're going to be concentrated in just one or two stocks at a time, but like you only need like one or two good ones at a time to really move the needle in your account. So when you have a group that's, that produces 10 or 20 good trades and you only need like two of them, that to me is a great group to trade, because if the group's doing well, it's pretty easy to look inside the group and find one or two or three that kind of match up with your personality and your trading style. So I'm going to go through some of these. This is not a complete list. Some of these have already made their runs and you can't chase them right now, but groups tend to be hot for a while. So just because a stock went on a run doesn't mean it's over. It doesn't mean you missed it. In a couple weeks, in a month, maybe they fade back and you get a chance to buy them at some moving average, which comes up and supports it. So definitely worth keeping these on a watch list. All right, let's go through some. All right, here's Aero. You can see it came out of a base here. Obviously weak stock, mini triple bottom here. Gets above resistance at 10, runs up, volume over here very good. You can't really see it because the volume over here distorts it, but runs up. Everything looks great. Comes out of a base, high volume, trades orderly. So if we get a pullback here, maybe gets support from its 21, which is the orange line. If we get a pullback there, that could be another buy, for a move up to there. And if you get a trade from, 12 to 16, that's an amazing trade. If you did that once a month, you're doing great. Here is ASTS. Long term, it's doing incredibly well. Obviously, uptrend. Just a few days ago, it was within a couple percent of the all-time high. Tough to trade because look at these, like straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down. Like that's hard to trade. So I don't suggest ever playing a higher high. I don't suggest playing breakouts. But from here, if we get a nice pullback here, something like this, then, you got a resistance level somewhere up there near 100 and you get, a big cup and handle, and then this thing could measure up. If the market does well, this stock's going to go 150 this year. It's just a question of like, let it come back and get it on a pullback. You don't want to chase it higher. AVAV, obviously it's already gone on a run. You're not going to chase it here. Support from the 21 over here, a little bit of support there, then it lost it. Resistance from the 21, resistance from the 21, then it sprang loose. As you can see, tons of volume over here on the first move off the low here, then huge volume, just like double volume daily, day after day after day. Cannot chase it here, but if you get an innocent fade here that pulls back on light volume, low volatility, these moving averages, maybe the 21 comes up and eventually supports it. I think you get, as long as the group stays hot, you get a chance to buy a dip. It's one to keep an eye on. Firefly, IPO from last year, obviously did not do really well, but nice base here. We got a little, maybe a head and shoulder bottom here, broke out. That's not good. See a like a neckline here, and then breaks out over here. Huge volume, fades back, lighter volume, gets supported by some moving averages, and then moves up again. So everything looks good here. Now it's flagging sideways. Okay, flagging sideways above the 8. The 21 is down there. Looks good. If I back up a little bit, maybe there's a resistance level here somewhere in that 32 and a half area. Got a gap over here that hasn't filled. I can't say if this is going to pull back again like this and then move up, but we have a really nice 3+ month base. And if the market does well, I could see eventually the stock breaking up. And because it's volatile, it can certainly move up, 50% easy from here. Carmen, whoops. So love the setup here. Okay, it moves up, and obviously you can see it's gone too far. You can't chase it here, but maybe you get it on a pullback. But I love this sequence here where it rallies up here, kind of breaks out of its funk. It's kind of in a funk here for about 4 or 5 weeks. Breaks out of its funk on strong volume, fades backwards on really light volume, and then ramps up again. That sequence of up on strong, energetic volume, down, finds support at some key moving averages on lighter volume, and then ramps up again on strong volume. That's a great sequence. You want to look for that all the time, whether it's coming out of a base, whether it's continuation pattern. It's just a great sequence to look for. Can't chase this one higher right now. We might not be able to play it for a month or so, but it's worth keeping an eye on to see if it fades back and gets support from its 21 again. Katos. The stock came out of a base here. Okay, you see a base for about 5-6 weeks. This move up here put it at a higher high. Volume here was decent. Then it faded backwards. Volume was very light over here, and then it ramped up again on strong volume. So that kind of sequence of like move up, maybe breaks out of a base, maybe breaks out of continuation pattern, fades backwards on lighter volume, and then ramps up again. You want to just look for that simple sequence. If that simple sequence happens when market conditions are good, a group is doing well, it's a really good, simple sequence to look for. It happens over and over. And like the others, like this is too far gone. You can't play it now, but maybe we get it on a pullback. Lunar came out of a base. Resistance not perfect here. We got highs there, higher high there, higher high here. But if you just look at it from the standpoint of we have some sort of a large base here, and we got a breakout, and we have huge volume over here. Today it's pulling back, but whatever. That doesn't matter. But it's one to keep an eye on. It's done really well. Maybe not the easiest one to hold because lots of overlapping candles, kind of volatile, moves a point and a half per day. But certainly one that we could buy on a dip and probably just sit tight and hold as it makes its way back up to a high, and then maybe goes to a higher high. ONDS, one of the stocks that we trade at Levitt Brothers, moved up nicely off a low, respected moving averages, just kind of orderly. I mean, the intraday ranges are kind of big, a lot of overlapping candles, but lots of higher highs and higher lows. Then a resistance level here at 10, higher low here. Price gets squeezed. Whenever price gets squeezed like that, it kind of builds energy into the setup. And then the stock breaks out on huge volume this year. Now it's pulling back. That's fine. Great trade from 9, 10 up to the mid-teens. Now it's going to pull back. Probably will offer another opportunity. Planet Labs, another one that we played at Levitt Brothers. You can see moved up here, strong volume, faded back, declining volume, then ramped up again, stronger volume over here, then consolidated on much lighter volume into the end of the year, and then ramped up again. So that kind of a sequence of like ramp up on volume, fade backwards or sideways on quieter volume, and then ramp up again. It happens over and over. You want to look for it. Keep it simple. Doesn't have to be confusing or complex. Price volume tells you most everything you want to know. Okay, not tradable here. At Levitt Brothers, we're just going to trail it with a stop. Maybe take some off when we get like a blow off top. But this one is done good for us. RDW, another one that we've played at Levitt Brothers. Such a great example here. Comes out of a base. Lots of many consecutive updates. Huge volume. Fades backwards. Volume lightens up. Ramps up again. Strong volume. Stock fades backwards to the 21-day moving average. Volume falls off. And then we go again and look at all the black volume here. Huge volume bars. Okay, stock has acted really well. Now we can back up, look at the bigger picture. The stock went up to 12, which was resistance level there. So we got a big base. I don't know what happens here. Maybe we move sideways for a week or two. Maybe we get a bigger dip here and then we come up. But if the market acts well this year, eventually the stock will probably break out at 12 and go up at least to the mid-teens. I mean, 14 here would be a gap fill. 16 is not out of the question, or even higher if the market does really well. But great price and volume action off the low, and a lot of these, some of these moves, like that's like 2.5 points. This obviously is, like 4 points. I mean, 4 points times a decent sized position, like that makes your week. It probably makes your month if you have a big enough size, if you have a couple of these. So you don't need to trade that actively. You just need to have a couple of good ones with a little bit of size that really moves the needle. Rocket Lab, this is kind of, I don't want to say it's like the granddaddy, but we've been playing this one since it was under $5. It's treated us really well. There have been some scary pullbacks like this one in October, November, but the stock has always recovered. So this is kind of like permanently on our list that we just like pretty much just look to buy every single dip that there is, because the stock's just acting well. And I think long term, the company has a great future. SATL, I mean, this is garbage, then the stock falls apart, but hey, it ramped up over here, volume good, consolidated here, cheap stock. I don't really play stocks that are this cheap because I just don't feel comfortable sizing up that much. But the pattern in the price and the volume sequence is there, like move up on volume, consolidate, lighter volume, and then ramp up again. Spire Global, kind of a hectic double bottom here with a gap. Gets above the previous high, now consolidating. Notice the volume there was heavy, volume here was heavy, now consolidating higher high, so that should be playable again. UMAC, this is a weekly chart going back 2 years. Price action over here looks good, pull back, so we got a nice big cup. Week to week, the stock's volatile. It could definitely move like 20% per week. Maybe we get a pullback here. Maybe we get like a handle over here, and then an eventual breakout at 17, which would measure well into the 20s. Maybe not well into the 20s, but certainly into the 20s. But this is a weekly chart. It's volatile. It's a kind of stock that I'm not going to chase a breakout. But if we get a decent pullback on the, to a key moving average, and I get an opportunity to start a position with a decent stop, then it's the kind of stock I would definitely play. Voyager, okay, nice move off a low, huge volume, fades backwards on declining volume, ramps up again, strong volume, fades backwards on lighter volume. We got a resistance level here, close to 30, higher high there, price moves up, gets squeezed by converging trend lines, and then we get a breakout with huge volume. Now the stock is consolidating. So stock should continue to do well unless the entire market falls apart. I could definitely see the stock going into the higher 30s. All right, so that's it for now. Most important aspect of trading or element of trading is, getting the market conditions right. If the conditions are right, then trading's not that hard. If the conditions are hard, if they're challenging, then even a good trader is going to struggle. After that, generally speaking, you want to trade stocks that come from groups. Okay, money rotates around, groups run hot and cold, figure out what groups are hot, dig into those groups, find 1, 2, 3 trades that are just acting well. The stocks are acting well. They're in concert with how you operate. Trades should be easy. I say if you have to squint your eyes at the screen, then it's probably not a good trade. But if it kind of jumps out at you and it's right there, then take it. Okay, don't make it harder than it is. Aerospace doing great. Other groups are doing well too. Do most of your business in the groups that are doing great. Hope this helps, and I'll see you next time.